lot of the lamestream media, left-leaning organizations have been going after Donald Trump because he's a king and he's taking out cartel members. But watch what Tulsi Gabbard says in response that absolutely dismantles every single thing that they say. You've got to check this out.
Presided over a Homeland Security Task Force roundtable on the ongoing crackdown on drug cartels.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard was there, laying out the grim brutality of these cartel crimes.
The arrest of a Sinaloa cartel boss, El Plato, another dangerous Sinaloa cartel member responsible for tracking huge amounts of cocaine. The arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies.
And DNI Director Gabbard joins us now. So, I mean, you can't even, it's sort of hard to wrap your brain around this, selling newborn babies and harvesting organs?
Yeah, good morning. It really just speaks to the savagery, the terror, and to the lengths that these cartels are willing to go to further their money-making operations, to continue their trafficking of narcotics, and ultimately the savagery that they have brought to the American people in our own communities. You heard President Trump talk about this for months on the campaign trail, exposing the truth about these things that were happening not in some far-off country, but right here, the terrorizing of our own people in our own communities here in the United States of America. So this Homeland Security Task Force operation that the president has directed really is having already an incredible effect. My organization, ODNI, our national counterterrorism team, we're playing an integral role in this and establishing for the first time a national intelligence fusion cell. Why this matters is because it allows us to take the intelligence that we're collecting, foreign intelligence. It allows us to work with our federal, state, and local law enforcement, those who have their boots on the ground on the front lines of this operation, to make sure that we're getting real-time intelligence and information going to the successful operations that I spoke about in that conference with the president the other day, to be able to take people like this evil La Diabla off of the battlefield.
Yeah, La Diabla, by the way, means the Satan, which is certainly, this is very evil stuff. I also remember that we were told that these kinds of things were conspiracies, that, you know, kids were not having their organs sold. Clearly, that is true, and we lost 300,000 children who crossed our border. So I wouldn't be surprised it's happening here. My question to you is, as you partner with the Mexican government, one of the concerns about partnering with a narco state like Mexico is that you could be tipping off the cartels. I mean, how do you know that your partners in Mexico are truly partners when we know that Claudia Sheinbaum, for example, is an ally of Nicolas Maduro? It's every action she's done in the last few months proves that.
It's a legitimate question, of course. This is something where we're looking at how we can vet as much as possible, both with the information that we have available, but also through the relationship building that is going on at the lowest level. And these operations that were carried out, that I spoke about, could only have been made possible by working with great Mexican partners in their law enforcement, who are just as concerned about these cartels wreaking havoc and terror on their own people as we are about them doing to ours. And this has been really incredible to see how these different law enforcement entities have really risen to the occasion, how some of our, again, through time and testing and vetting, our partners that we work with at the highest levels of the Mexican government have shown their commitment and their lack of corruption. They're putting themselves at great risk and harm because they themselves are standing up against these cartels who have unfortunately ruled the day across Mexico for too long.
And just lastly, in the 10 seconds I've got, Tulsi, I thought it was significant last week that your NCTC put intelligence together that took down El Pato, a Sinaloa cartel plaza boss, which is really significant because President Trump shut the border down. But it seems that with that act, it would seem that the administration is sending a message to the plaza bosses who have run our southern border under the Biden administration.
Yes, it's very significant. This operation, I would love to tell you about how it was carried out because our folks, again, who are working now without pay because of the Democrats' government shutdown, worked tirelessly to get this guy arrested and behind bars. But also the public messaging that we did on behalf of President Trump shows his seriousness. And this actually played an integral role in his continuing to be behind bars because people are seeing, hey, President Trump is not messing around with this. And if they try to resort to their old games of bribery and all this other stuff, they then will be putting themselves in the target.
Wow.
All right.
You are working on some incredible stuff, taking down evil, and we're really grateful for all that you have done. Thank you so much for joining us, Tulsi Gabbard.
Thank you, Director.
Thanks so much.
You know what? I absolutely love what Donald Trump said on this entire argument. He says, these boats that we're taking out, you don't see any fishing rods on them. These are not just everyday people going on a boat and just enjoying the nature. No. These are people who are trying to invade and destroy this country through the drug crisis that is going on. They are actively waging war against America. And what do they want Donald Trump to do? Oh yeah, come on in. The border's wide open. Just do whatever the heck you want. No, if you want to have a functioning country, a functioning government, you want to make sure you're protecting your citizens and you don't want them living next to people who are trying to destroy and kill millions of people. I have no issue whatsoever with Donald Trump taking out these ships because think about it this way. When in history would any empire, any civilization allow this to happen? You think Julius Caesar, Augustus, Genghis Khan would allow this to happen? No, they care for their constituents and they care for their citizens so much that they would never subject them to that. And even in the modern age, if we did this to Russia, if we did this to China, if we did this to Germany, any of these countries, this would be almost an act of war. But the fact that this is seen as a controversial take is what's crazy about the world we're living in. And it shows how powerful and how important that Tulsi Gabbard's position is. Because before her, it seemed like all the three-letter agencies had a vendetta against Trump. They wanted to take him out in his first term. They did everything that they possibly could to sabotage his first administration, and they almost got away with it. They almost did. They tried to impeach the man twice, but they failed because there's nothing there. Donald Trump's sole mission is to protect this country. And Tulsi Gabbard, somebody who used to be the head of the Democratic Party, saw this firsthand and said, you know what, this guy's actually caring for America. He's trying to put Americans first. Why don't I support this man? The Democrats don't even have a mission statement for America. All that they want is anti-Donald Trump, more oppression, more government, less freedom. So yeah, I'm going to switch my party to the Republican Party. I'm going to support the guy who's actually supporting America. If you want to talk about a damn superhero, you look at Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump. I don't care about any of those Captain America, Iron Man. This is real life. This is happening today. They're battling some evil forces, but they will not waver. They will not give up because they stand for truth, logic, common sense, and the almighty God. And the lamestream media will refuse to report on all of Donald Trump's accomplishments, but instead they'll say he's a king. They'll say, oh, he's renovating the White House. What an evil man. He's taking taxpayer dollars away. When in fact he wasn't whatsoever. He's getting outside contributions. Not a cent of taxpayer money is being spent on the renovations. So it makes me just sit here and wonder, when is the mainstream media gonna be held accountable for all of their lies and deception through the years? I'll tell you what though, I am incredibly grateful that we have good men and women like Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump here, protecting us from the cartel, protecting us from the government, protecting us from Russia, from China. They're actively looking out for America at every stop, at every turn. It will never get appreciated in the mainstream media the way they should. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Who do you think was the greatest choice that Donald Trump made in his cabinet? Let me know. I'd love to hear that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash a like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.